What is up, crypto gang? Welcome back to another episode of Hack Crypto, where we hack our crypto education. And if you guys are brand new here, we do a giveaway at the beginning of every single episode. And today's winner is Derek Lindsay. Thanks so much for commenting on the previous video with your Mana wallet address. Actually, it was a Decentraland video, and Derek posed a great question. If you guys are brand new here, like, comment with your wallet address and something about the video, and subscribe for a chance to win next time. And in this special episode, I sit down in a live stream with Kenn Bosak, the man, the myth, the legend, Kenn Bosak. He is a very influential person in the space, talks a lot about NFTs, and as you guys know, I'm obsessed with non-fungible tokens on various different networks. Love talking about them. Did a whole series on them earlier this year. And I'm going to be speaking at NFT NYC this week, actually. So if you guys aren't already going to the event to see me on stage talking about grow your base and non-fungible tokens in general, game theory and things like that, definitely tune in. If they're doing a live stream, I believe, but definitely tune in to check that out. So without further ado, let's dive into the live stream that I did with Sir Kenn Bosak.
We're live. Hey, how goes it? Kenn Bosak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I'm with my bro, Steve McGarry of Hack Crypto. That's the Hack Crypto YouTube channel. How goes it, Steve?
It goes good, Ken. Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for coming on, man. I was checking out your channel not too long ago, and I saw a lot of interesting NFT videos. So if you guys are interested in NFT talk and want to hack your crypto, guys, definitely check out his YouTube videos. That's why I reached out. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So
Thanks,
introduce yourself to the audience a little bit. Let them know a little bit about who you were before crypto, maybe how that led you down the rabbit hole, and what you're doing now in the industry since falling through the rabbit hole.
Cool. So as Ken very politely said, my name is Steve McGarry, and I started creating content in 2014-ish around crypto. I learned about it when I was living in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and we were actually mining Bitcoin out of the Cambridge Innovation Center, and we were talking about it a lot in 2013, and things really took off in 2014. We started playing around with altcoins back when like Pink Coin and Dex Coin and all
Coin,
these.
that was the charity coin, right? By what's his name, Danny?
Oh man, I just remember seeing Coin Market Cap and being like, okay, there's X11 coin, and I remember I made like quadruple my money on X11 coin, and then it just vanished. and I remember saying like, dude, this is going to be something in the future.
Well,
like
2013, you must have been seeing a lot of color coins and things like that too. Name coin was probably one of them, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were very, very much like, Master Coin. Everything was like coming up against Bitcoin, and Bitcoin dominance was actually getting kind of threatened. And then I got my parents involved in June of 2014, and then Gox happened easily like a week after I got them to buy Bitcoin.
On Mount Gox?
No, they had it like stored, which was good because I like taught them how to do everything. And that was kind of what gave me the bug of creating content, because they were like, hey, our generation of baby boomers, we don't understand this stuff. We need physical representation of value. And I majored in economics. So I was like, okay, well, Bitcoin's basically the perfect trifecta of all of these things with economics and game theory and everything involved in it. So why don't we just start making content? So I started blogging, started making some videos here and there, and things obviously really took off in 2017. But in between there, I started a peer-to-peer lending company, and that was using US dollars, but it was very similar in the concept of cryptocurrency, of peer-to-peer cash. So we raised money from investors, and we were financing students to learn programming. So they would go through code boot camps. So they're like 3-month programs, and the kids and students would learn programming and get a job. So really low risk profile. The investors would get, their money or their capital deployed. Students would get an education and get a job. And it was really a lot of fun. And that was when I moved to Silicon Valley, and we exited to founder of PayPal, Max Levchin, in 2015. And he was like, really interested in education. And that was after that, I said, all right, peer to peer is the future. Like it is hands down going to be where things move because everybody was interested in taking a loan from an individual instead of taking a loan from a
Mm-hmm.
bank to do something as basic as education. So I said, all right, well, I'll merge my passion of education and peer to peer with the obvious, which was cryptocurrency and making content about it. So fast forwarding to today, or the past 2 years, I really got into NFTs, non fungible tokens, for anybody that's brand new to that. Um, and
It's the new ICO boom, bro. Like, I can't fucking tell you how many people are in my DMs, even on Facebook. What's up with these NFTs? And this virtual world stuff. And I'm just like, wow, it's the same people that were asking me about X, Y, and Z ICO. So,
yeah,
it's really interesting to see this topic kick off. I mean, you were here before, you were in crypto way before like the first NFT, Crypto Kitties was even a thing. When that came out, sort of like out of the blue, how was that, like a crypto OG? Like, what was that experience like when you saw these non fungible, tokenized assets that, you couldn't fraction? It was just like you could have one crypto kitty, you couldn't have a tenth of a crypto kitty.
it was exciting seeing CryptoKitties go live because it put a beautiful little interface, like as simple as you could imagine an interface being. It just gave it a different face to simplify that long address. And I thought that that was like a great step in the right direction in terms of a way to visualize what's going on.
Did you
And also,
FOMO in?
oh yeah, I got plenty of kitties. I got tons of kitties. I love kitties. They're such a good step in the right direction in terms of like simplifying it down, allowing people to understand that scarcity does actually increase, the value over time. And I think that the kitties were a first great step in that direction. I felt like it was like uh, another version of being able to apply what Bitcoin did so well.
I
But
thought it was
I
like
do,
magic when I looked at it for the first time, and I just was like, "This is a how are they doing this?"
yeah, yeah. And fast forwarding like all the way to today, we launched a platform because I've been fans of Coinbase. I know a lot of people give me flack for that, but they brought in millions and millions of people into the space, regardless of if you buy it on there and then move it on to a ledger or a Trezor, whatever it is to hold your keys after you learn uh, all those concepts and everything, getting deep layers in. That on ramp is so big for first newcomers that aren't familiar. And what we did was we created a platform that is like the Coinbase Earn for NFTs, which is called Grow Your Base. We work with all the top NFT developers. And like we work with Splinterlands, the awesome banner behind you, Ken.
So you can go learn about Splinterlands and actually earn some of like the NFTs.
Yep, you earn a $10 starter pack
Oh,
by sharing their game on social media, by subscribing to their email list and following on Twitter and basics like that. We give you a starter pack so you can start playing the game
oh, I'm
with.
done giving away starter packs. Then I'm just gonna forward everybody to this because every time I give away a starter pack, I get all the questions of how to play it anyway. So might
Uh-huh.
as well forward them there so they can learn how to play it and then get the starter pack code.
Yeah, yeah, because I education is such a gap, like it's such a huge gap. And when Coinbase Earn rolled out, I was like, okay, they're doing it for utility tokens that are trading, and there's only like six of them on there. And I was like, how can we help NFT developers and token issuers get more distribution, get more users, like really help educate people and grow the space? And just completing simple tasks that everyone can do. Everybody has social media and basic equity and emails and things like that on the internet. So matching the two together was just a logical step. And I love education, so it just made sense to make a platform and help people out in terms of the devs and new users.
And the monetary incentive, I think, really what lights the fuel under people's ass to like do their own research and try to get more education on the environment because of, it's not just like they have a Hearthstone card in a centralized wallet anymore. They see that this has actual real world value, and they want to figure out why. That they look like Splinterlands. I've had people like get a card or something. They're like, why is this worth anything? Like, I don't get it. How is it worth like $10 for one card? I'm like, well, look up at the circulating supply, and then you look at, how many are being, bought and sold for on the actual third party markets. And they kind of start to learn about supply, demand, scarcity, utility, and it's all by accident, really, just because they're playing a game, which is, I think, is NFTs are the on ramp that a lot of people on stage at conferences are like trying to talk about. They just don't realize that bridge is built. It's gaming. Blockchain gaming is the bridge that is mass adoption. That's the road that we have to kind of let the masses kind of go to. And we'll gamify the education through this process, where it's not such a stake in their financial pocket, but so more in the hobbyist side of things, where like you play Fortnite, like Neon District, and you end up earning from this participation, and then that incentivizes that do your own research.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've done a great job, Ken. You deserve props
Thank
on
you, bro.
playing the games, showing people that these things are a reality. Because I'm pretty blown away by, like you said, I think DApp Radar came out with an image that said 60% of the entire Ethereum transactions in January were gaming.
Yeah,
And
it's
so more
huge.
than half, which says a lot about where things are going. A younger generation understands, like, okay, I get these assets in the game, I can trade them, I can buy them. It's a much lower barrier to education if you're earning them in a game. And I think it is going to be ground zero for hundreds of millions of younger people, especially coming into the space.
Yeah, Splinterlands has given away already almost about $100,000 in a year in tournament prizes, and that could be, kids all around the world earning, an income by playing a game, as opposed to taking their mom and dad's credit card while they're sleeping and buying Fortnite skins, on the
Yeah.
DL.
Yeah, and then there's that play to own concept of literally people that have that scarce amount of assets, and if you play the game as an early player, you can actually share in revenue of the
Mm,
game,
good point.
which is mind bending to think how impactful that could be for all over the world.
That's
You
why I
know,
thought Neon District would do something really unique by auctioning off like the bosses and stuff like that of like the actual in-game NPCs, non-playable
mhm.
characters, was like genius. And I always thought about things like that when CryptoKitties first came out. I was already, like, that's it. I saw all what is happening right now. I already saw the first day CryptoKitties came out. I was just like way too ahead of the times, man. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna wait for it. I see the potential, and I think the games like Neon District and Splinterlands and stuff like that are just, that's going to be the paradigm shift. That's, what we're going to see, a whole new, I think, definition of what a AAA game really is.
Yeah. Yep. And a couple of the companies we've worked with, like Lucid Site and Dapper Labs and stuff like that, like they're big organizations. People often think that sometimes it's like a developer in a basement that's building this. And in some cases it is, but some of these teams, like Lucid Site, the guys behind Crypto Space Commanders, MLB Champions, they are like a team of 30 or 40 developers in LA that are developing multiple blockchain games, and they're proving it out. And it's only a matter of time before someone like a Blizzard or an EA comes in and says, "All right, guys, like
Yep.
you're coming with us."
I feel like those games though are probably going to look more closely, and we have, this is a good segue opportunity, I guess, because we've been talking a lot about, like Ethereum based NFTs, but or even Steam ones with Splinterlands. But what are your thoughts on like NFTs coming from like an engine perspective, where they're actually backed by the asset itself and can be melted, creating more scarcity throughout the environment? Where I think it adds a unique. Art versus asset kind of a thing. Like, is this art or is this NFT more valuable than the asset it's backed by. Like if Engine Moons, this scarce resource in a game, say it's a sword or whatever, could be more useful in the game, or maybe I want to melt it for some, to get the engine and then sell that on the exchange. And I think that's going to be where I think Blizzard and like Fortnite look more closely into when it comes to tokenizing their in-game assets.
Hmm.
But I don't
Yeah.
know like what your thoughts are, because a lot of people haven't looked too much into like Engine recently.
Yeah, I love Engine. I love the fact that it is going to be almost like a collateralized concept behind these things. And it's like I've been working with a lot of tokenized asset companies. Like we work with a company called Realty, which is tokenized real estate on the Ethereum blockchain. That's a big deal. They're doing amazing things with tokenizing real estate. But I do think with gaming specifically, Engine is pioneering that concept. Like you brought up melting. I think that is it's just a brilliant mechanism for just moving around with scarcity, just playing around with it and seeing what will work, what won't. And I love that. It's like such a brilliant way of allowing younger people to just immediately play with something and give it liquidity. And I think that technology is going to be a big deal. There is another one called Stardust.
Yeah, I've met
Uh,
them before. They're a really cool team, man. Really cool
yeah,
guys.
yeah, I really like what they're doing. And Kanan is his name, and he's a really smart guy, and he's been working on that for a while. But I do think that technology and that ability to do what Engine's doing is big. I do really like what the companies like OpenSea are doing, where they're allowing you to basically like either you or me, we could go on to OpenSea and just very simply create our NFT, put the fixed supply, go on there and sell it. And I saw that right before this, you did you did one.
I do
It
have.
was
I was waiting. I
yeah,
was like, I actually did do that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So people, I saw people donating like $4.20 on YouTube to me a lot, and that's kind of like awesome. It's kind of like my thing. Like I'll go to a YouTuber's live stream and I'll drop 420 as a super chat to like Bitcoin Ben or Omar Bam or Crypto Blood, whoever, Tone Vase. Like I just like to drop
Mhm.
420, and I guess other people have kind of picked up on it and started doing it on my channel, which is really cool. And I'm like, well, I want a way that I can kind of give back to those people. Like, this is, I could make like an ICO fucking token, basically sell it for 420. I mean, it's a donation, right? So I went to mintable.app, and it was like 123. I created 100 NFT tokens, listed them on OpenSea for $4.20 in DAI, and people have been purchasing them. It's really cool. And I'm talking to One Up Coin. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No.
It's like an overlay. It is an overlay, like super chats for your Streamlabs or Stream Elements. So if somebody wants to send you a crypto tip like Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, XRP, whatever, they can go to oneupcoin.com/donate/Kenn Bosak or fill in the blank, and they can send you a crypto tip, and it pops up on your screen on YouTube, similar to a super chat, except you don't have to worry about YouTube stealing 30% of your crypto tip. And I'm trying to
Mm.
get the automatic like NFT smart contract figured out, that when people do send me a One Up coin tip, they can redeem an NFT immediately for like the donation.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's really smart because the whole concept of like with, for example, Mag NFT. Are you familiar with them? The magazine for artists. So they highlight NFT artists, and what they've done is with their NFTs, they've put a certain amount of their own little currency on there, and that could be like a magazine subscription when you redeem it on their site. So you buy the NFT on OpenSea, and for everybody that's brand new to OpenSea, it's basically the largest decentralized exchange for all of these digital assets. And when you buy it on there, you can move it over to their magazine subscription, and you get like this monthly recurring, uh, I guess you call it a catalog of the new and up and coming crypto artists,
That's
which is,
smart.
yeah, it's a cool idea. And when you bring artists into a space like this, they're going to have a brilliant outlook on it, and really change things away. And my mom's an artist, so I'm kind of bullish on artists starting in a in a space first, because they're going to be the ones that push the envelope. with things like crypto voxels and
Yeah.
Decentraland and stuff like that.
There's friends of mine on Facebook that are artists, that I know from high school outside. I mean, that's what Facebook is still for me, is outside of crypto. Maybe like 1 to 2% of the people that follow me on Facebook are like from crypto Twitter or whatever, but it's still friends, family, and stuff from pre-Bitcoin life. And a lot of them are artists that I've noticed, and they're like, I wish I got $1 for every like I got on Facebook on my art, like, or I wish I got, $1 for every time somebody stole my art and posted it as if it was their own. And I'm just like, please DM me. I will show you how to tokenize and have full ownership of these digital arts that you're creating. Like, yes, you're onto something here. Let me show you the solution to the problem that you're actually aware of. And I think that that's a better conversation than trying to educate people on a problem that they're not aware of yet, like, rah rah banks, centralization, fiat, fractional reserve. Like, that's not a problem they're aware of. It is a problem, they're just not aware of it. And then you have to educate. I like to go to the people that already are aware of issues and show them how the tech is a solution. And right now it is artists that are really trying to figure out what's the next step for them, and it's is almost like the paradigm shift that Napster offered during like the Tower Records, monopoly.
Yeah. Yeah. Napster definitely did a good job back in the day. I remember LimeWire.
Yes. Dada, right? The artist, Dada Art, they're using, tokenization of their art. And I thought that was really cool. It's like legacy artists, really trying to figure out how to, get into this space. And it just evens the playing field. It's the art industry is really centralized. There's a lot of middlemen. It's very border to entry, very, you know, discouraging when you learn about like how hard it is to get into a gallery, and then you show somebody how easy it is to get listed on OpenSea, and show them the kind of the way of like Vesa and Josie and these other amazing artists that are sort of like the forefathers of tokenized art.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have like a lot of money. I know he did my banner, he did your banner.
A lot of
He,
money, bro. I got
yeah, he's
that. I got so much love for that dude. I've waited over 2 years for him to make me that banner, and I finally earned it. So thank you.
yeah, he's great. And I got a banner done by him like last year and was messaging with him. And, he's a great example of an amazing artist. And then he found out about NFTs, and now he's just crushing it on OpenSea, and he's partnering with all these different artists to collab with them. And it's so cool watching him go on to a platform like that. Like you were saying, he figured out about it, and now he's selling these things for thousands of dollars, which is just such an inspiration for any artist out there that
Yeah.
should check it out, because it's an amazing. And with things like crypto voxels, where people are literally having art gallery or art shows in a decentralized virtual world, it's like uh, mind blow,
Yeah.
mind blown.
I kind of was already foreseeing a lot of that too, as it came to like VR tokenization and these like Decentraland crypto voxels, like almost like Ready Player One environments.
Yeah.
And are you familiar with Digitable or Digitables? They have this free Ross environment kind of built on top of Decentraland. And very similar to the magazine you mentioned, when you have the token, you get that subscription. Well, if you have this NFT for free Ross in your MetaMask wallet, it permits you entry into like a free Ross building, and you can kind of like walk
Mm,
around. And depending on which NFT you own, which floor in the elevator service you're gained access to, and like it's really interesting to think
cool.
of like tokenized tickets to these virtual worlds, where, like crypto voxels. Imagine being able to have that art gallery, but sort of saying, well, if you don't own any of my art, you don't have entrance. But if you have any of my art, come on into the, museum of my NFTs. And I think that is actually going to be really powerful for these digital realms, having the tokenized admission tickets.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we were in Miami, you were telling me about digitables, and I never got a chance to connect with them. But you were telling me about the free Ross concept and stuff like that at
I
Bitcoin
have a
Miami this year.
physical NFT, the world's first. Like it's sort of like Cassius coin, like the
Yeah, yeah,
Bitcoins.
yeah.
It's a physical NFT, and then I could peel off the protective layer, scan the private key, and get the NFT off of it. But until then, it's cold storage NFT, physical. One of I think five. It's right there, right off screen. Oh, I can't reach it. But yeah, I thought, with the idea of physical NFTs, like to that aspect, like vending machines or crane games where you get a Crypto Kitty stuffed animal, and on the stuffed animal, you can peel off and scan it. And now you have the NFT and the plushie, and I'm just, yes, I see so much potential with this, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. And with MLB Champions, the game by Lucid
I
Sight.
did grab some of those. I have the Phillies. I got a couple Phillies and
Yeah, man.
MLB NFTs.
That's a great idea too. It's like bobbleheads, and they passed them out. I think it was at a maybe a Padre or no, the Dodgers game. They passed them out at the Dodgers game, like on little cards to all the fans in the stadium.
Yeah, I wish
So
I
they
made
got
it.
their little bobbleheads.
I was so jealous of all the non-crypto motherfuckers that were just gonna throw that shit away like idiots. I'm so mad that I know there was just so many of those like things either thrown away or just whatever, and I'm just I would have bought them. I would have just and you couldn't. I put out a massive tweet trying to get my hands on one, and I couldn't grab one because they were such a desired item. So that was cool. And I saw, if you're familiar with castlecrypto.gg, posted an article, and I thought that was cool. The FC Barcelona announces partnership with Chili's, a platform that just partnered with Engine. So it looks like soccer on tokenized soccer, like NFTs.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm familiar with Foot Battle and Nifty Football, and they're like the soccer management style NFTs, and that's a big because that's like, isn't it technically the biggest sport in the world?
Yeah,
We call it soccer, but it's
it's football.
football everywhere else.
Football.
Football. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it is. It's I think the next one is cricket, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
It's
And one
weird
of the
sports. I was like, weird
one of
sports.
yeah,
The
different sports,
NBA, I
different.
just saw, has an official NFT coming out too. I saw on Twitter. I just followed them. There's like an official NBA NFT, and Stephen Curry already has like his own crypto kitty, which was genius. I thought that was really smart.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea. And one of the things that happened that I felt not many people saw outside of our world, our NFT land, was that I don't know if you're familiar with My Crypto Heroes, the game based out of Japan, but
Sounds familiar.
they purchased a mobile game that had millions of users called Brave Frontier, and this happened probably 2 weeks ago. We worked with them on Grow Your Base on their launch of Brave Frontier Heroes, and they acquired the game and instantly had millions of active users on this mobile app, and then incorporated their NFTs into it.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, and it was very, very, very well done. And it definitely flew below the radar for people that are outside of our space here, which I felt was, yeah, those types of moves should be definitely praised and respected, because that was like an instant couple million people moved into NFTs overnight. It was crazy how they did that.
I was at Consensus 2019, and they had, I think it was like, it wasn't Clash of Clans, but it was like the next one. I forget. It was like Royal Clash or Clash of Royale, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They had Bitcoin campaigns and tournaments where people could earn crypto playing in the tournaments during Consensus, and that game has millions of users, but it
Yeah.
was not really kind of like well known within our community. But when you went outside of it to like the regular gaming industry, they were covering it left and right, which was really cool to see. And I think
Hmm.
that's what opens up the conversation outside of the echo chamber, when it comes to like what these projects are doing in unique ways. Almost like happy to hear that it wasn't a part of our, little echo chamber bubble of information. It was outside of it, which has a better ripple effect, I think.
Yeah,
Have you
100%.
been playing EOS or not EOS? Ugh, I think that's what it was or call or something. It's on my phone. It's Night Stories.
I have.
I have
I have.
EOS Nights on my phone, but it's actually called Night Stories. And I started playing that, and I started trolling their Twitter account. I'm like, "Where's the crypto? Where's the blockchain? This is just a game. It's so well hidden that you have no clue that any of these assets are tokenized. There's any private keys, and if you wanted to do that research, you could link this game to a wallet and do more, but you don't have to know so much to play this game. It's just a game." And if you look more into the tech, you can, kind of link a wallet too. And I thought that was a really convenient way to kind of like trick people into getting into crypto.
Yeah.
It's just like a low key game, really addictive tap and play game. If you guys are like toilet killer time games, that's sort of my go-to on the toilet is Night Stories. And I'll just, mine some resources, play the game, and try to like forage rare assets and stuff. And yeah, it's just an interesting game to see, and that's not so in-your-face crypto. Here, you have to write down your private keys. All these assets are scarce and rare. Don't forget their worth, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just, it's just, I think we need more of that. So I definitely have to check out more games. Do you play any, like, go-to games? Like, do you have a go-to blockchain game that, if you just like to play outside of, like, maybe this is a valuable thing, not thinking, like, financially, just engagement-wise that you just enjoy?
I mean, I've definitely been playing Brave Frontier
I'm
Heroes
gonna have to check that out.
quite a bit, just because it is just like what you're talking about with Night Story, where it's you can't tell.
Android app, iOS app.
Both,
Okay, I'm gonna have to
and
check that out.
it is it is definitely one of those things where when I do see something like Night Story, for example, right when I see the interface and I see that it is hidden, I'm going to OpenSea and getting a bundle, like one of those bundles on OpenSea. If you guys
Wow,
haven't checked
you
that
said
out,
Brave Frontier, right?
yeah,
Bro, I typed in Brave, and Brave Frontier came above Brave Browser.
go for it. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's above Brave Browser in the recommended searches, which is really interesting. Oh, 10 million downloads.
yeah, dude, they're gigantic,
Downloading
absolutely
it right now
gigantic.
so I don't forget it.
But that's been my recent go-to, just because helping them with their launch, and allowing. I think we had swords on Grow Your Base, where everybody that was going through would earn. I think it was like a $25 sword, and now it's like I think $60 per sword on OpenSea.
Is that
So
growyourbase.com?
growyourbase.co.
.co, okay.
Yep. And yeah, people could go on there and earn it, and we would get it to their wallet and everything after they would redeem it. And the Brave Frontier guys, they are the real deal. That is, I'm impressed by them. And My Crypto Heroes is, if you go to their either Brave Frontier Heroes or My Crypto Heroes on DApp Radar, or what's the other one? DApp Review.
Yeah,
DApp.
DAP review. Castle Crypto is a good website for like blockchain gaming reviews as well.
Yeah. So if anybody goes to any of those, like, you can see that in their first 24 hours after we launched with them, they did like I mean, because they have, like you said, 10 million downloads on this game, and they did over $250,000 worth of just ETH transactions on their game, like in 24 hours, their first 24 hours, which is just
Wow.
crazy.
But see, now you've been around the block a while, man. And I remember CryptoKitties bogging the Ethereum blockchain
Yeah.
so hard that I'm actually concerned about these NFT games getting 10 million users and having so much transactions on the blockchain that it could happen again. Like I do worry about, even at this point, I don't want Walmart to accept Bitcoin. That would suck. Lightning, sure, go for it. Just don't fuck with Bitcoin yet. Walmart, thanks. And I feel like the same way when Fortnite. People are like, Fortnite should tokenize their scam. Like, do you know how many users Fortnite has? And if they all decided to use the Ethereum network, how expensive it would be to at first, because it's scaling. Which CryptoKitties did encourage the Ethereum developers to get off their ass and build Ethereum up to scale for that, and it's going to keep encouraging, I think, that to happen. But I
Hmm.
do worry about like these games taking off and then causing issues because the tech isn't quite ready for that mass adoptive moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And in like 2015, 2014, I forgot when, but it was around that time on Bitcoin Talk, people were trying to form like a consultancy type thing where they would go and educate different retailers on accepting Bitcoin, accepting different currencies and stuff like that. And it was almost like a communal effort to try and, like, for example, now the communal effort would be Lightning
Yep.
instead of Bitcoin, or instead of just being on chain transactions immediately from something like Walmart that would skyrocket costs for everybody. So having something like that, like a lightning consultancy where everybody went to these big companies and said like, this is easy to use, and instead of saying immediately using blockchain or Bitcoin to immediately accept transactions, it would bog everything down. That was a really inspiring piece on Bitcoin Talk back then, to see people at least trying it. It fizzled out, obviously, but um, I think that that would be really cool for the different layered solutions on there to go to a retailer and say, you should use this. This is the education about it. Let me teach you.
Mm.
Let me show you. Um, just to avoid what you're talking about
Well, I
with
think a
Walmart.
lot of these blockchain games will probably use more sidechain solutions. Things will be a little bit centralized. That it doesn't, and there's layers to decentralization. I don't think people like really uh, like there's the tribalism of decentralization where everything has to be Satoshi level. It's decentralized, but I feel like a lot of these games won't want that. We won't see Fortnite utilizing completely decentralization. They're gonna have a centralized tokenized asset in a sense where they're utilizing side chains, not so much on chain things. And maybe because they're utilizing like three blockchain version, you could have the ERC 721 version or the Steam whatever. They're probably going to use multiple blockchains to build on top of. That way they're not really like, because we're seeing it happen now. Again, Fortnite's a great example to keep fucking segueing into with those guys. But they encouraged multi cross platform console gaming where Xbox, PlayStation, and PC can now all play at the same time in the same environment. And that wasn't even a possibility before they fought for it. And I think if you're going to see tokenized games, they're not just going to use one blockchain. They're going to try to be as cross-platform as possible moving forward.
Yeah. I'm really intrigued by, I fell deep down the Decentraland CryptoVoxel rabbit hole for a few months now. And the interoperability between virtual worlds, that one to me is just so meta that you're like jumping from virtual world to virtual world, and uh, whether they're different chains or whatnot. But I think that there's so many, part of almost the issue is that there's so many things that we can all learn, and so many different paths that we can go down, is that it's kind of paralyzing sometimes, where you're like, okay, which one do I want to focus on? Which one do I want to really learn and just dive deep in? And I found that allocating like 6 months of my time to certain niches was how I got past it, of saying like, okay, I'm going to focus on these decentralized virtual worlds and NFTs for the next 2 years, 3 years, and really invest in this, and then just learn everything I possibly can about it. Like the previous year, I was doing a lot on master nodes, and just really trying to learn all the different aspects of it is very daunting for people. But if you just take a little bit of time for each thing, and take your time, it's you can definitely make it happen. You can learn all the different aspects. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Ken, was if you were to look at your stack, like your of NFTs with crypto art, gaming, and let's say just collectibles like crypto motors and stuff like that. What are your favorite projects, just to do like shout outs of crypto
Oh.
artists, your games, maybe top two or something of each.
Number one, Josie. I love her NFTs. I have her physical posters that have the NFTs associated with it, and
Nice.
I'm a big fan of what she's doing. So that's definitely like my most prized possession in my NFT holding. Um, uh, my Splinterlands collection, I'm pretty proud of. I probably only need 50 cards or so to have the complete collection. And then I can
Nice.
work on the gold like cards. I almost have like half of all the gold cards. So I've been collecting those since their Kickstarter came out, so that's my second most prized possession. I think then I have a founder's key for Neon District that I brag a lot about. I get a lot of offers on OpenSea for it, and I'm not letting it go, bro. It's just not gonna happen. So I just like laugh every time I get an email from OpenSea. It's like, you got a 5eth offer, you got a 7eth offer. I'm like, it's not even close to tempting. So I'm just like, that's cute. I'll wait. So those are like the top three, I guess, like of my holdings, and then I have some I'm not so proud of. Like my Gods Unchained hold. I'm so embarrassed I gave them any of my to be honest. Completely disappointed by that game. How long it took them to actually become a platform where I could utilize the utility token that I purchased even before it was minted into an actual asset. So I have my feels with them, and I do worry about them when it comes to like the SEC for using NFTs as a security to basically
Mhm.
raise funds to build a platform to bring utility to the token that they sold. So I mean, if you don't have a platform to give something a utility, it's not a utility token. It's a security that you use to raise. So, I mean, I just have like that moral qualm. When I look at my MetaMask wallet, and I'm just like, ugh, I don't even want to sell them because I don't want to do that to anybody. I don't want to fuck anybody over getting rid of them either. So it's just like, see what happens. I wish them the best because I would love to make my back. But the amount of I invested in it, I don't think I'll ever see back. And yeah, those are
Yeah.
the ones I love, the ones that not so much. And then I have my own, dude. I actually have wax NFTs that I created of myself. So like I'm actually on OP Skins. If you go on their website, it's
Uh,
hilarious because they're like OG in-game assets kind of a thing, and they got into the tokenized realm with wax. And as soon as I saw them get in, I was just like, well, I have a cartoon. Can you tokenize me? And they did. So that was awesome of them. And then I reached out to Engine, and yeah, I got my Engine collectible as well. And now I'm trying to get one built on Tron.
That's awesome. Tokenizing yourself. I love that.
Yeah, dude,
I love
I
that.
use it, as a sort of like as a meme for now, but like, I did give them real utility. Like if anybody purchased a Ken collectible, from the one from OpenSea is sort of like just like a supporter badge. And then my Steam token, I only made 420 of them, and they're redeemable for an hour of my time. So if you wanted to send me one of my own tokens that you got from like the Steam Engine exchange, you could schedule an hour to just hang out with me, talk to me, interview
Huh.
me, or play a video game, whatever. I'm yours for an hour. Let's hang out. So I thought it was just, a cool way to kind of just independently tokenize myself, create my own utility token as a service. And I mean, dude, I just love the idea that I am my own shitcoin and everybody can be their own shitcoin. And they should, And Andreas
Yeah.
Antonopoulos gave me the inspiration. I talked to him in Vegas at HoshoCon about self sovereignty and independent tokenization. And yes, like I was all about it, and it kind of woke me up that in the future you'll see 5-year-olds creating their own NFTs or their own tokens for the playground, and giving it its own utility that, hey, if you want me on your dodgeball team, you better have one of my tokens, or otherwise I'm going on the other team, or whatever the case may be. The same way we use jelly bracelets for like snacks on the playground. I'll trade you 5 jelly bracelets for your pudding cup. Deal, bro.
There was years ago, there was a guy who there was an article, I want to say it was in like the New York Times or something where he IPO'd himself. And this was a this is probably like 10 years ago, something like that. But he IPO'd himself where he sold shares. I think it was up to $1 million. And he had a board of directors. And he made the $1 million, and it could have been less than that. I forgot what the actual amount was, but this made me think of it because everything that they said was the path of his life. So if he had a girlfriend, they had to decide if it was good for his
I
if his
wanted to do
career.
this. I want to do this. I was
If
thinking
he
about the tokenized Truman Show. Yeah,
exactly,
I'm
that's what it was.
100% for this. If anybody out there wants to do this with me, I will live stream my life 24/7 all of next year. We'll work on. I would love for people to pick my breakfast for me. That would just make my life so much easier.
Dude, you should do it, Ken. Totally do it. Because that when I read that, I was like, dang, this guy, he made like $1 million really quick. And then for the next, I think he had a constraint of, I think it was like 10 years of his life was going to be entirely decided by this board of strangers from all over the world that bought a share in him. And he like broke up with girlfriends, went out on dates, took job interviews. Like they would make sure that he would get like raises and stuff in his job. It was like gamifying his actual life, like Truman Show, just like he said.
I gotta
But that
look more into this. That kind of reminds me of the. Remember, I don't see. You might know about this. Some people may not. I bet 3D does. He's in the chat. This guy created a website in like the early '90s where he sold like pixels for $1, and it
oh
was a
yeah,
million pixels. And he sold all the pixels, made $1 million, and it's like one of the oldest, websites right now, like on the internet. But it was an OG move that I see similarly happening in this space. Like where I kind of would like to do the same concept. Kind of upset I just threw the idea out there, but somebody does it, cool. But like make a website where there's 100 pixels, each pixel's an NFT, and you create the art behind it.
yeah, doing each one as an NFT, that has not been done before. I remember the $1 million homepage when that was like, I think I was in maybe middle school or high school when that came out, and I was like, why are people buying this?
Same. I
Like, what is
remember
going
visiting
on?
the website all the time too, and watching some of the like
Yeah.
random shit pop up. Like I think Fuck had like one of the biggest spots for a while, and then people outbid the person who bought it so they could replace it to make it like it was kind of very self governed for what it was. Because if there was toxicity, they would try to outbid the owner of it so they could replace it with something more welcoming because of the other things around it that didn't want to be associated with the toxicity or the trolling. So it
Yeah.
was a really interesting display of decentralization, self-governance, and free market. Really, it was like a great experiment for people to look into, and I kind of see a lot of that game theory being displayed now in a tokenized environment, especially when it comes to like leasing NFTs. I don't know if this is something that's been on your peripheral, but I've been nagging Alex Machinsky of Celsius Network for a good year and a half to let me lease my NFTs through Celsius to earn interest on my NFTs. So through a smart contract, I could let you borrow some of my Splinterlands cards, and I don't have to worry about getting them back or buying them from you or whatever. You can take a loan out, and then give them back to me to get your collateral. But I earn interest off of my NFTs now. So even if I don't play Gods Unchained, I could lease out those cards, still, have my cake and eat it too, so to speak. And I'm really looking forward to seeing an environment where like Grand Theft Auto 25 comes out and there's only like 10 Lamborghinis. I have one of 10 Lamborghinis, but I don't play Grand Theft Auto, so I just lease it out to people that need to do challenges and get away from the cops in a fast car.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that said, I'm going to be making an announcement at NFT NYC on stage about, I won't say if it's about that or not, but if you do check out growyourbase.co, there is a something that's rolling out that has to do with what you just described. It's a hint. I won't say it because I don't want to leak before everybody there gets to enjoy it. But yeah, that is, I'm very much into that space right now. Given my background was in peer-to-peer lending, and we're the platform where people go to learn and earn NFTs and build a digital portfolio. It's kind of a next logical step.
Definitely. Dude, especially for a lot of those crypto kitty hoarders, like those dicks don't even fucking use these kitties, bro. They got Gen 0, Gen 1s that are virgins. They never even bred these cats. I'll borrow the cat, let me breed it, let me keep the kittens, then you can have your cats back, bro. You can have them back. But there's so much, I think, dead NFTs because of this. And hear me out. I have such a moral qualm when blockchain games use this term after they sold. We have 10,000 users for our blockchain game. No, you have 10,000 investors. They are not gamers. They're not end users. They're probably 99% of the people that invested in your NFT for your game will never play your game ever. They're all speculators. They're not users. And unfortunately, those investors either lose interest or lose their keys or X, Y, and Z, send their smart contract receiving address to an exchange, and now their NFTs are locked in, a hot wallet on Binance or something. Unfortunately, I wonder what your thoughts are on that where blockchain games use their sales as a projection for user base.
Yeah, I think it's definitely very similar to just in traditional startups. People will move numbers. They will try and make it seem more appealing to get a Jones effect and get more people signing up. But it's definitely couldn't be further from the truth. Active users versus signups versus people, like you said, that are just investors in
How do
what
we
you're
get
doing.
the investors to be players, or do we want to make the players the investors?
Yeah, I mean, that whole play to own concept is quite cool. It's difficult to message for gamers to just teach someone like, hey, if you start collecting these items, you'll share in our revenue. That's kind of a difficult concept to grasp for a lot of people right out of the gate, where they're like, why would my in-game assets generate passive income for me? So I do think that if there is going to be something next week that were to allow someone to free up some of that capital by borrowing against their portfolio of NFTs, that would be a really great thing.
Dude, NFT NYC is going to be lit. I'm telling. I mean, I think it's because they don't have that whole like consensus vibe to it. Because oh, it's in New York City, this, that, and the other thing. But like, I was there when they had it at the PlayStation Center, and it was just so informative for that environment, for like a lot of the VCs and the investors that were just sort of interested in crypto, didn't understand tokenized assets, or didn't really understand the concept of like collectibles on the blockchain. How
Yeah.
much they learn at an event like NFT NYC is amazing. It's like I praise what they do, because I am so upset that a lot of these conferences don't even utilize the tech for the venues. Like Consensus didn't have an NFT ticket. I have an NFT ticket for NYC though. I mean, it's in my MetaMask wallet right now, and I think even the team that does NFT NYC, they actually had the tokenized swag bags at Consensus last year. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Got like a
It's
token I could redeem for like AirPods. I got a token I could redeem for like a book bag or a CryptoKitties onesie I got in my closet. I'm saving for the conference next week. I even got one-on-one meetings with some really interesting people at Consensus 2019, because I had an NFT that was redeemable for 1 hour of their time.
cool. Yeah, I like that idea where you said that your NFTs are redeemable for time, because time is easily humans' most valuable resource, hands down, without a doubt. So
And you
yeah,
can
that's
gamify it, right? Like maybe I charge an hour, $100 an hour for consultations, or
yeah,
I listed my NFT on OpenSea for $50.
yeah,
So you can
yeah,
go to OpenSea and grab an NFT, save 50%, redeem the NFT for the service, and that's just a proof of concept. Really, I'm not I'm not serious about a lot of this. I'm just like experimenting. I'm having a lot of fun, but I'm trying to do a lot of like proof of concept stuff where I can go to like a mom and pop shop and try to be like, look, you could have tokenized loyalty points or tokenized rewards system where, you know, if I walk into your business and can show you my MetaMask wallet, show you that I have one of your business's NFTs, I can get 10% off my pizza, you know, because there's only 1,000 of these NFTs for local customers to, you know, invest in your business. Say you listed them for $100 on OpenSea for one of 10 pizza NFTs. I walk into your restaurant, I show you the NFT, you can see which one of one it is. So say it's number 45 of 100, that has now been, maybe I get one slice of pizza a day throughout the year for having this investment in your business. Probably not going to go every single day to get the 300 and some slices, but I invested in you early on, and that's what like gift cards are, you know, and that's what a lot of these businesses do when they have these third-party loyalty point systems. Except I worked at a small business. I learned a lot about the loyalty point industry, and it's very border to entry, minimum, you know, 6 figures to even get one set up. You know, so if you're a small mom and pop coffee shop, you're not really going to be able to get that loyalty point system that Starbucks has, you know, but now you can because of tokenization. So I do try to go to these small businesses and just show them, look, I have my own NFT. People can redeem it for this service, and this is the proof of concept. And I hope, you know, to see that future soon where maybe Walmart has an NFT that, you know, you just scan, they ask for your MetaMask public address at the register. You show them your public address for MetaMask. They search your public address for the open ledger. They see that you have their NFT. Maybe the conditions are you had to hold it for a certain amount of time, so you couldn't have just got one off your friend this morning. And then, you know, maybe you have to have it for 72 hours before you can get the discount. Whatever. There's so much potential to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I mentioned earlier with Mag NFT, the magazine for NFT artists, they're very much right there on that bleeding edge of saying, hey, if you buy our NFT, it will have a certain amount of our token in it, and that can redeem, and you can shop of our portfolio on our site. So literally, like, you buy that barrier for that membership, and then you are able to shop around on exclusive items. And we launched with them like a week ago, and over 2,000 people tried to get access to it, like wow. on Grow Your Base in 24 hours. It was absolutely nuts because everybody wants to experiment with this stuff, but it's borderline ready for prime time. I think, like we were talking about earlier, if all of a sudden 1 million people will go on to the Ethereum blockchain in an hour, you're going to have some serious backlog there. But yeah, I'm excited for NYC. Or NFT NYC.
Do you know if it'll be live streamed? I'm getting questions in the chat, and I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure Jerome from Blockchain Universe is going to be streaming as much as he can in alt space. So have you ever dabbled in alt space? It's sort of like a centralized version of Crypto Voxels or Decentraland. It's a VR environment.
I haven't, no.
You can do it on your computer. Do you have a Windows?
No, I got a Mac.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I use Boot Camp to install Windows 10 on my Mac, which is super convenient. But altspacevr.com or altspace, and it's a virtual world. You can do your I do a meetup there. We do our podcast there once a week. So people can hang out in this 3D virtual environment. It's almost like a movie theater setting, and then me and my friends are on stage doing a podcast. And on the screen in the back is an actual like theater 2-dimensional display of the YouTube channel video with like what's really happening in the real world.
That's so sick. And every time I think about these virtual worlds and I talk to people about them and just go off the deep end when I talk about it, I mean, the idea that we're living in a simulation becomes more of a, it's just too trippy.
Dude, the idea that I think it's one what's that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio again? Inception. Right. It's one more Inception layer deep than that. I feel as if we're potentially a simulation within a simulation. And we're creating the simulation within that simulated simulation. If that makes any sense. Like, we're a we're a third party simulation. We only have so many layers of understanding of the environment. Like we don't even like we can't even understand what we don't know that we can't understand with the senses that we're given. So like with fourth dimensional like topic of conversation, you know, spirits and things like that is probably more so code than not. Especially when you start to see these virtual environments scaling from 480 to 4K so quickly.
Yeah.
And then I always joked about this, and it's starting to happen. Where I'm like, well, how long till Google Earth is used in Grand Theft Auto, so I could just drive a car in my neighborhood because Google Earth has compiled this virtual environment through the renderings of Google Earth, and it's starting to get so real, so immersive that yeah, I could see that this is just a simulation within a simulation. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. The guy, Lex Friedman, I think is his name, the artificial intelligence guru guy, who has a big YouTube following. I watch a lot of his content, and he just said if you just give simple constraints like birth, death, there's going to be insane complexity that comes with it if you just give a simple constraints like that.
there's a
And
lot of YouTube videos on that AI experiments I've watched where it was like, don't die. And that's like its only job is don't die. And it figures out just by that one simple command to build a border that will protect it from the thing that keeps killing it, and how to keep adapting to the environment as the environment changes with conditioning. And yeah, it's really interesting to see that that's really all you need is birth and death for chaos to be in between.
yeah, all sorts of complexities. And but yeah, the I'm super pumped about NFT NYC. Going to be doing that announcement about something around what you were talking about for Grow Your Base. Super pumped for that because it's going to change the game, for the space, giving people more liquidity, giving people access to more of these rare assets. It's super. I'm excited to meet people from like Avastars. Jim from Avastars is super cool. You should check them out. They just launched Avastars. Really excited about them. Hanging out with people from Dapper Labs, that'll be fun. Axie Infinity, those are going to be really fun to hang out with. Marble Cards, Crypto Motors.
I got to hang out with Marvel Cards a few times, man. They're a cool team. I like those guys.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to be fun just because so many talking to so many people on Discord and Telegram and stuff like that is one thing, but meeting them in person is just it's yeah, it's definitely a whole nother level.
And the wealth of information just from
Oh, yeah.
like being able to pick people's brains on the moment. And I mean, I can't tell you how much I learned from just being a fly on the wall at conferences, kind of just almost rubbernecking a lot of the conversations, because there's like six CEOs of like, what's basically the future of the world industry leaders here. And they're in one room together. It's almost like you get to spy on their DMs, and I
Yeah,
learned
yeah.
a lot just by sitting close to those people and engaging with them. So it's going to be fun. And I do encourage people that if you're in New York and you can't afford a ticket, just hang out outside. The smoking section is probably the best marketing networking section ever. A lot of things distract people when they're inside, but once everyone's outside having that cigarette or doobie, that's good marketing. That's good networking. That's where it's all done for free. So if you can't afford a ticket and you're in the area, definitely just hang outside the venue and meet the people, that are there. And yeah, I wish events were more inclusive when it came to that stuff, but unfortunately, I know overhead is a bitch, especially in New York.
Yeah, in New York, it's next level.
And
Next.
getting all the speakers to come out and get them on stage and stuff, that's not a cheap move. But it was only like $300 a ticket, and I got a 30% off link. So if anybody goes to NFT NYC and wants 30% off, my referral link code is free Ross, just to help spread some awareness. And maybe you could donate 10% of the 30% you save to free Ross. Just an idea. I guess to wrap things up here, I got one last topic my chat wanted us to cover, and maybe you could elaborate on the differences between Decentraland and Crypto Voxels, since Crypto Voxels has seen such utter success, financially speaking, and technologically, with their platform just being as smooth as it is so early on and seeing a lot of liquidity come to their environment, where do you
Mhm.
see the main differences between Decentraland and crypto voxels?
Dang, that's a tricky one. So I know that with crypto voxels, they've focused a lot on web VR, like the browser. So you can access it just with a browser, um, and you can also do it in a headset. I do think that with Decentraland, they're focusing on that creation, like the building, the easy to drag and drop build on your parcels. So I think that that easy to use buildable feature is going to be a big, big, big differentiator. And they just have so much firepower behind Decentraland in terms of their developers, in terms of everything, and their gates open in what, 5, 6 days,
Yep,
something
beta,
like
yeah.
that. So super excited about what they're rolling out because it's going to move crypto voxels forward. It's going to move Somnium space forward. It's going to move all of these projects forward because they've just spent so much time and calories on building out the easy to create concept within the game. Um, I don't know. I know it's on headsets like your Oculus, your HTC Vive, but I don't know if they're doing browser, how they're doing the browser on Decentraland. That's something I haven't, uh, like, I don't have top of mind right now. But in terms of the team sizes, Crypto Voxel, I'm pretty sure is a one man band with Ben Nolan. I'm pretty sure that it's just a guy crushing it.
Yeah, I watched
There's,
their. I was on OpenSea looking for the NFTs, and it's all coming from his OpenSea account. I'm just like, wow, this is he's doing all the work right now.
Yeah, yeah, man. He is next level. I've discorded with him multiple times, and he is a really brilliant guy. And there's contributors, helping obviously with trying to play with things and stuff like that. But him is someone that I love supporting. And then you have Decentraland that's raised quite a lot of money, and they're building out this incredible interface with easy to use buildable features on your parcels. And I think that they're going to complement each other really well. But if you're brand new to it and you don't have that much of a technical background, I don't consider myself an expert by any means in all of these technical pieces with crypto voxels. Decentraland is going to be a great place for beginners to play around with. Buy a parcel, build up a cool little place with Kenn Bosak's face on it, and have some
Yeah,
milk
I'm gonna
all
have
over
a
the
milk
place.
stand for sure.
Milk stand. So that's a great
Yeah,
idea. Like
just
a
some
little
tokenized cup of milk. Yeah, that people can walk around with as like one of those accessories, just like a cup of milk in their hand constantly.
that would be so sick. Like in order for you
I
to
could
get into
collab with
the
Crypto
nightclub.
Stash and do milk stashes.
That's right. That's right. The avatar has to have a little cup of milk to get into your nightclub.
Yes.
But yeah, that's my like just off the cuff differences. I think from a tech perspective, they're probably much different, but I think in terms of what they're trying to accomplish, they're very similar. Um, One is going to be visually beautiful, which is Decentraland. It's going to be gorgeous, and Crypto Voxels is building. They're very much in the early stages, but they deserve praise because they deploy all the time. Like they are
I was
building,
just
building,
checking out their
building.
browser version, and it was as smooth as Altspace. Just walking around and kind of floating around and going through the things, and it feels like you're walking through a blueprint of something. Like you can tell that it's not quite finished, but you
Yeah.
can sort of see where it's going, and I'm excited for voxels. But yeah, Decentraland's killing it. I can't tell you again, like the whole earlier, like I was talking about these messages about NFT mana. I mean, I like I mentioned during the ICO bubble, everybody asking me about X, Y, and Z ICO. Even during like the Bitcoin bull run, people were asking about XRP way more than they were asking me about BTC. Same thing. We're in this bull run now, and everyone's asking about mana. I have all the DMs about mana, and it's just like, yeah, it's a
Did
thing.
Did you play Diablo? The game
No,
Diablo?
I'm a first person shooter player. I've only ever really played first person shooters my whole life. I've never played much else.
Got it. So Diablo in the early 2000s, Diablo 2 came out and that like changed my life forever. And mana was like an energy source in Diablo. So when I saw Decentraland's token was named mana, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be my next Diablo 2. This is going to disrupt my whole life.
Yeah, no, it is. It feels like life mana, right? For Decentraland, it's basically what it is to build. One of my buddies, I think, built his avatar in Decentraland or something. It was like 100 pixels or 100 mana or something for the pixels or parcels. I forget exactly how it's all worded. Again, I feel like I'm one of those people when it comes to those environments right now. I'm not the end user. I'm just an investor. I got mana. I have the name for crypto voxels because my buddy got it for me. Steve. I got Kenn Bosak on crypto voxels before somebody could grab it and steal it from me. But I'm not using it yet. It might be a while till I actually do, but I definitely plan on visiting the environments and playing around while they're in their development stages. But at this point, I feel like I'm still just a speculator waiting to be an end user because there's not much to really end use at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm excited for it.
And you've done a good job of this, Ken, on your show and everything of making sure that people know that you don't need to know all the aspects of this stuff before you get involved. Very similar to a game. When you're signing up for any video game, you don't need to know how everything works. But just playing around with it, just tinkering, is the best way to learn. Like learn by doing and play around with these things. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to understand all the complexities that are happening underneath it. Just play around with this stuff. You don't need to be an expert, and you can be anyone, any background. Doesn't matter who you are.
I encourage you to fuck up too. Make mistakes right now. Like so many mistakes. Do them today. Do it early. Do things wrong. Fix it. Mess up again, and try to learn from it all today before you're, at a point where if that were to happen, it would hurt a lot more. Like people that don't go through their own learn from spectating. They have to learn from doing it themselves, and that's why I like to hook people up with a little bit of crypto and kind of throw them into the wild. I'm like, all right, well, here you go, learn how to do it yourself. And people message me here and there like, oh, I lost my keys and I don't know what to do. I uninstalled this app and I installed it again, but my money's not there. And I'm just like, all right, well, you just learned a lesson. Maybe it's a $5 lesson, maybe it's a $10 lesson, but now look back at 2011 charts, and if you would have lost that $5, how much would that $5 be worth today? Yeah. That might be enough encouragement for them to do their own research and educate themselves. So, yeah, and same thing with Splinterlands, like, in these games where you don't need to know anything. So much fun. So I can just forward everybody to your website from here on out and just, get them educated, get them rewarded with these assets. When it comes to the Brave Frontier, do you still have any of those campaigns going on?
We sold out pretty quickly of that. We had about 3,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Try to earn those assets on Grow Your Base, and I think we only had about 50 in inventory, and those just went within the first 2 days. So yeah, occasionally we get launches like that. Like we launch with Avastars. That's really exciting. They're doing
I'm gonna have to turn notifications on then, huh?
yeah. Get the push.
It's growyourbase.cc, right? Or .co.
Yeah.
See, I'll get it right eventually.
Yeah, but we got a big announcement coming at NFT NYC, and the whole goal here is education. We want people to learn and earn by learning about it, because blockchain allows us to do that. It's super simple. And I think that these NFTs and tokenized assets are going to be ground zero for trillions of dollars in the future of coming into something like the blockchain space. So super bullish.
Yeah, look at esports, man. Nobody saw that coming. It was a joke. Yeah. It was such a joke. It's finally getting the recognition as an industry that it deserves. Wait until esports discovers blockchain gaming. that is a very parabolic relationship just waiting to take off. It's just inevitable. It's a waiting game, and I don't think we have to do anything proactive about this. Just sit back, relax, let Engine and all these other companies do all the work on ramping developers with Ubisoft, and just wait. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I mean, I'd love to put your token on Grow Your Base or your NFT on Grow Your Base and send you a few thousand people that are trying to learn about you. If
Dude, that would be awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Have you made an NFT for NFT NYC? They have the swag bag, so you could actually submit your own NFT to them that they can give to all the people coming, and I did that. So
Ah,
all the attendees will be getting a Kenn Bosak NFT.
sweet. That's awesome.
Right?
That's awesome. Yeah, because isn't it is it Cameron at NFT Cred, or is it Cred? What's the company behind
Cred, yeah.
Cred? Yeah, because they help you mint on your own. Like for people like anybody could go on there and mint their own if you have like a following or whatnot.
Yep.
And I think it's exciting to think that businesses could do that in the future, like what you were talking about with membership programs, with royal what is it, reward programs and loyalty
Yep.
programs. That's a big industry just to have businesses doing that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the legacy content creators like Ninja to sort of get this on their peripheral, where they're just like, they do private live streams for people that are like members of their YouTube. Like I saw like you can join, I could join your YouTube as a member, donate like $5 a month, and maybe you do live streams that are only pervy to those that have donated the $5 a month, and then you upload that live stream later for those that don't opt in to donate. And I think that there's a interesting, like, having admission to a virtual world by holding an NFT. The same concept is coming to content creators and streamers with this tokenized admission to private live streams, and I think it will probably kick off in the adult entertainment industry. I didn't want to get too much into that. I saved it for the end here, guys. But I do feel like the adult entertainment industry is probably going to end up tokenizing nudes, and things like to that effect, real soon. So we're going to see outside of the gaming environment adopt this technology in an interesting way. Imagine opening up Sports Illustrated and having, a QR code that you can scan to get a collectible top baseball card or something. It's a really interesting way to look at this outside of like gaming. I love the idea of like tokenize everything. Like I'm definitely a tokenized junkie. So
Yeah. Yeah. A hotel,
New
real
York,
estate.
yeah, they did that in New York. They tokenized the hotel.
Yeah. It's a big potential, and it lowers the barrier to, non-accredited investors and anybody, anywhere. It's the real deal. I think it's going to be trillions and trillions of
Oh,
dollars.
dude, we didn't even touch on this, and I'm just gonna put this out there for the audience. But wait until you see crossover, games, or not even crossover games, but like clones of games, like Gods Unchained, Splinterlands, Neon District, XYZ, all those open source NFTs. Yeah, anybody can build an environment, acknowledge the existence of the asset, give it a use case in that platform, and now that one NFT that you had for Neon District is now usable in 7 cloned versions of it, just because it's as easy as a copy paste, much like Mario Maker. We're gonna see a lot of Mario Maker esque environments where you could have multiple use cases for these NFTs, because that's, it's incentive. People are going to be incentivized to build a platform for you to utilize a crypto kitty outside of breeding, and I'm
Yeah.
already seeing a lot of this. I think somebody was walking around a game the other day with their crypto kitty next to them. I can't remember the name of the game, but their crypto kitty was just like standing next to them and walking around like Pikachu, and I was just so like, yes, that's the future right there. More use cases. So I guess we'll wrap things up here, man. Where can people go to like find you, follow you, and get in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. So if you just look me up at Hack Crypto on YouTube, you can see my face on on YouTube, and growyourbase.co. That's where you can get rewarded for learning about NFTs and tokenized assets. It's just like the Coinbase earn of NFTs. And you can follow me on Twitter at Steve McG without the E's, STVMCG. And yeah, I'm pretty active regularly all over the place. and we're definitely trying to help with education in the space big time. I think that's important to leave everybody with is it's okay. You can start. You don't have to learn everything, just slow and steady, and you'll be fine. And yeah, thanks so much for having me, Ken.
Dude, appreciate you taking the time to come on. Everybody go check out growyourbase.co. See, I got it right. Got it right.
Yeah.
Told you I get it right. And yeah, get incentivized to learn, and maybe your shit. Send some people that don't that way, so you can play Splinterlands with your friends after they learned how to play and got their starter packs. Thank you very much to Sound Genie. It looks like Coin Stories and somebody else I saw pop up as super chats. Appreciate all the donations. Thank you very much. I love you, bros. As always, have a day.